Hello and welcome. This is from the CBN. We bring to you weekly reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. I am William Dada. Remember the Tertiary Institutions Entrepreneurship Scheme TIES, an intervention initiative of the Central Bank of Nigeria developed in partnership with polytechnics and universities in the country, designed to create a culture of entrepreneurship among Nigerian graduates and undergraduates. The developmental grants component of the scheme, which involves pitching of innovative, entrepreneurial and technological ideas by undergraduates and their tertiary institutions, opened last Monday in Abuja. We have more on that event for you in this package, plus the continuation of the colloquium on addressing the foreign exchange question in Nigeria at the recently held CBN Seminar for Finance Correspondents and Business Editors in Akure. First, let's bring you up to speed on the top stories from the Central Bank of Nigeria this week. At the 30th meeting of the Bankers Committee last Thursday, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, announced the immediate release of rebate incentive totaling 3.5 billion naira to various exporters in line with one of the anchors of the RT200 FX program. Passing on the information to the public during the Bankers Committee virtual press briefing, Managing Director of Fidelity Bank, Mrs. Nneka Onyali-Ikpe, said 150 exporters at various levels are to benefit from the incentive, while the rebate will continue to be released on a quarterly basis.
This policy, as you well know, was rolled out in February 2022. The initiative is to, just like the DBS said, the initiative is to encourage value addition to our export products of Nigeria. Specifically, the policy spoke to value addition in the place of immediate, which is semi-finished products, intermediate, which is semi-finished products, and completely finished products. You will recall that the central bank governor announced rebates of 65 naira for every dollar of export proceeds sold to another end user. That the proceeds from the exports that's sold to another end user will attract a rebate of 65 naira, while the proceeds from exports utilized by the exporter will attract a rebate of 35 naira for every dollar of the proceeds utilized by itself, that's the exporter.
Also, the Bankers Committee has decided it will increase the level of awareness of the NQR code payment platform in the country after reviewing the level of adoption of the payment option, which was launched last year by the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System to improve financial inclusion in the economy and complement other payment platforms like the POS terminal.
It is in the class of what we refer to as contactless payment systems. You can make payments from an individual to an individual, which we call the P2P model. You can also make payments from an individual to a business, which we refer to as the P2B model. You do not require a huge infrastructure like in other payment platforms. All you need is your mobile phone. Merchants can also get immediate value for the sales that they make on a daily basis, rather than the next day value existing on some other platforms. As I said, this is complementary and basically geared towards improving the efficiency of our payment platform systems. Very shortly, the NQR code will be acceptable in well over 176 countries. So the committee decided, after appraising the progress made on the adoption, to increase the level of awareness of this payment platform, considering the huge benefits that it brings to the economy.
Similarly, the CBN and the Bankers Committee are working to move on to the second phase of the central bank digital currency, the e-Naira, which will see to the onboarding of the unbanked using the USSD platform to aid financial inclusion. The Managing Director of Guarantee Trust Bank, Mrs. Miriam Olusoya, at the Bankers Committee virtual press briefing stressed that the future of money is digital, hence the proactive move of the CBN to pioneer central bank digital currency in Africa.
And since this was done, we've seen over 756,000 downloads of the app. in terms of consumer wallets, we've seen 165,000 consumer wallets and 2,800 merchant wallets. And the advantage of the e-Naira is that currently it's at no cost. And one of the things the central bank wants to achieve is that it will remain cheaper, even if subsequently there's a cost to it, it will still remain cheaper than other transactional channels. And the e-Naira is a digital currency that has legal backing. So, like I said, the future of money is digital, but it's also essential that we embrace one that has legal backing, is issued by the government and has legal backing. The second advantage, again, to the e-Naira is that it's pegged to the Naira. So it's not fluctuating. You move it from Naira, and when you move it back, the value has changed. So it's pegged to the Naira. It's in and out at the same rate, at the same value as the Naira. And moving on to the phase two, currently now it's an app. Moving on to the phase two, the plan is to be able to onboard the unbanked using the USSD platform. So this will be able to aid financial inclusion. And this channel is cheaper, reliable, like I already talked about, reliable, always available payment channel. It's going to support digital economy, improves economic activities. And in terms of social interventions, it's just a very easy method of supporting social intervention to support Nigerians. There's instant settlements, availability is almost 100%, no dispense errors or reconciliation that we may see with other channels. So this is also something that we are going to be pushing as a committee of bankers, the e-Naira adoption. Thank you.
North, South, East or West, male or female, old school or millennial, rural or urban, the Naira is the same, and so is the e-Naira. The e-Naira is a legal tender issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria. So, let's embrace it. The e-Naira will foster financial inclusion, improve access to credit, facilitate cross-border remittances, and it's easier to transfer. e-Naira, same Naira, more possibilities. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
Thanks for staying tuned. And if you're just joining us, you're watching from the CBN, a weekly program that brings to you reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The CBN Tertiary Institutions Entrepreneurship Scheme ties developmental component that involves pitching of ideas to the body of experts for the award of grants opened at the bank's headquarters in Abuja on Monday, April 11th. The body of experts headed by the MD/CEO of Sterling Bank, Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, said it reviewed 145 applications from various higher institutions across the country, out of which 30 were shortlisted to pitch their ideas to compete for the top 5 positions.
What the central bank is pushing for here is a process where, while in the universities, the collaborative effort between the faculties, the institution themselves, and the student will lead to outcomes that will lead to companies emerging from these institutions that will then become employers of labor. There were certain focus areas, specifically areas that could lead to high employability, from agribusiness to tech to entertainment or the creative industry. So the shortlisted 30 now have an opportunity to stand before the body of experts and showcase what they have put forward. We're convinced that the thoroughness of the work that has been done will then lead to us being able to identify and score the top performers and eventually the winners of this program. The process is very simple. We have summarized the work that was done online, which has enabled us to evaluate a huge amount of data and to then identify the businesses that we think have the best chance of meeting the desired outcome or the goals that were set up for ties. That has been printed, and that document is available to the body of experts, which they will look at in the process of the review. In addition to that, we've also going to go through a scoring process now, And so there is a scoring guide that has been prepared, very detailed on how we will determine. And because the eventual process is online, we have also provided papers here to enable the members to put their thoughts down, and eventually those thoughts will then be transcribed onto the platform where the eventual scoring will happen. Our hope is that this has met the expectation of the governor when he set this up, but most importantly, that it will meet the expectations of Nigerians, because bridging the gap between the academia and what I would call the workplace is something that is critical. The more we do this, beyond ties itself, the more public sector partners would find opportunities to collaborate with universities, go through R&D processes, and hopefully deliver things that are for the benefit of the country.
Dr. Caroline Alienogena and our student Esther Falabi of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, Niger State, are looking to set up a share business hub for wealth creation.
We're asking for this grant so that we may be able to set up a share business hub. Interestingly, Niger State owns 57% of the share products in Nigeria. And presently in the world, the largest concentration of share trees are in Niger State. But surprisingly, we have quite a lot, but we still live in poverty. Because a lot of these share nuts are not picked, they are wasted, and the others that are picked are smuggled. And the women in the rural areas that are still picking these nuts are still impoverished. So we're pitching the share business hub that will be all-encompassing. Production of share products, the production of share products in an innovative way, marketing and creating an e-commerce. Also, we are looking at the certification of share products. There is what we call share smuggling. As we speak, though the Standard Organization of Nigeria is working at certifying the share business in Nigeria, the share butter itself, but Nigeria does not have the certification fully yet, and this share business hub will be working towards giving us that international certification. So smuggling, what we mean by smuggling is that they pick our share products and take them to neighboring countries like Ghana, put their certification, and send it overseas for dollars. So we're looking at getting this certification so that we can formally be launched into the share market. It's a big market. It's a big world market. Presently, we have a share research center, and we also have a grant from the World Bank, and that grant is centered on food safety, mycotoxin and food safety world grant. So we are working at getting all those certifications. So when we get this grant, we'll be able to provide the necessary laboratories and what is required so that we'll have the USDA certification as well as the EU certification, organic certification for our organic product to be well certified, and we can take them to international markets and also be able to get foreign exchange.
And this project is not just focused on the production of products from the shea butter or from the shea. It cuts across all of the processes involved in the shea value chain, which ranges from the production, locally fabrication of equipment needed in the shea value chain, and also the production of a minimum viable products by the entrepreneurs, and also the creation of markets for these products to be produced from the hub.
The top 5 institutions to emerge from the grant component of the scheme will receive a total sum of 900 million naira. 250 million naira is for the first position, 200 million naira, 180 million naira, 150 million naira, and 120 million naira for the second, third, fourth, and fifth positions, respectively.
If someone calls or sends you a message that you have payment issues with your bank and requests that you reveal sensitive information, end the call and don't click. It might just be a scam. No bank will ever ask you for your personal identification number, PIN, mobile banking password, or your card verification code, CVC. Scammers always sound genuine, but don't fall for their bait. Don't respond to phony emails or SMS, and don't click on any dubious links. Even if the other party calls your date of birth or your BVN, don't give them your security details. If you suspect there's an issue with your account, the safest thing to do is go to your bank or call the number provided by your bank directly. Protect your bank details so no one steals your money. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
Welcome back. Seasoned economists and financial analysts in the country were present at the recently held CBN seminar for business editors and financial correspondents in Akure, Ondo State. Here is more excerpts from the colloquium on addressing the foreign exchange question in Nigeria.
I keep pushing the idea that, look, there should be a space for patriotism in the management of the foreign exchange of a country. There should be a space to say, listen, this is our currency, let us defend it. If we talk about China, of course, Professor Badan mentioned that keeping their currency weak at 7 or 8 renminbi to the dollar, it is strategic. It's coming from a strong position. And you have to manage it around that realm. And of course, that is also a managed floating system. Manage it around a certain band so that it does not become totally debauched, so that the country does not get destroyed, because a lot of things get tied into, I'll soon be done, 1 minute, sir. A lot of things get tied into the currency of a country, the pride of a people, the prospects of the economy, the respect they get from the Committee of Nations, get tied into the currency. We need, of course, a reteaching of economics in Nigeria. We need to reteach it and reimagine economics. And like I said, there are some things that you will never be taught. But there are one or two things that we taught. Lastly, what is called economic complexity, sir. So in saying that whether I'm going to be gifted this money, or I have to work for it, or I have to work for the money, the issue then becomes, what kind of work am I supposed to work for the money? For as long as you are a primary product producer, you are selling plantain, and you know how long it takes for plantain to grow and mature. But you need a Prado 2022 model. You are in trouble. How many tubers of yam do you need? How many shiploads to import one Range Rover? Therefore, I think the problem lies in what they call economic complexity, which is what they call the knowledge quotient of goods and services produced by a country. People like Professor Ricardo Hausman in Harvard have been pushing this idea and reminding us, especially in this country, Nigeria, the need to work on economic complexity to move beyond mere primary products, which don't count for so much, given the fact that today, our biggest import in this country year on year is technology. The second biggest is petroleum products. Technology, all those laptops you are using, all of these phones, the software, go to CBN. Technology. And we have no escape from technology.
What exactly was Nigeria doing at a point in which we were able to have less than 100 naira as exchange, as a rate to the dollar? What exactly was the structure of the economy?
If you look back, and I'm going to just take us a step back to when Nigeria got independence, those glorious era, we talk of the groundnut pyramid, the cocoa farms, the palm produce in the east, the cocoa in the west, the groundnut pyramids in the north. And you ask yourself one fundamental question. What was Nigeria's population in 1960? Our population was barely 49 million in 1960. What was the level of sophistication of Nigerians in terms of consumption? Civil servants were aspiring to buy bicycle and transistor radio. That was the level of sophistication we had then. How many Nigerians wanted to fly an aeroplane? We were very inconsequential. How many Nigerians needed to go outside the country on holidays? They were inconsequential. What was the pattern of our consumption? Most Nigerians were still wearing made in Nigerian clothes. We had no taste. We were not even exposed to that. When I was a young boy, if you go to anybody's house and see a television, it's a rich family. In today's household, every room has a television. There was nothing called DSTV. Television was starting by 4 p.m. in the evening and end by 12 midnight. And also, so that was Nigeria we had. And that was the time when our consumption, our demand for foreign exchange was very low and could be met by export of groundnut, cocoa, and palm produce. Today, what's our population? 206 million at the minimum. What that means is that the minimum level of consumption we must be ready to foot. whether we like it or not, and that's the reality. What also follows with that, our tastes have changed. We have become part of the global community. All of us have phone. You use data. Nigeria does not produce data. For every data you use, somebody is paying a data provider that is coming, that brought the optic fiber to the country. Today, you are by virtue of existing in today's world, unless you go to Afghanistan, you will live on some imported items. So what that means that we have a minimum level of consumption for a population of 206 million. What have we done? We have kept the economy at an extractive industry level from 1960 to 2022. At some point, the economy was trying to transform into a manufacturing sector. Policy choices of Nigerians killed those industries. And we went back to extractive industry lifestyle. We are only exporting crude oil. Now you want to export tubers of yam, cassava. Then you ask yourself that today, in today's Nigeria, when I was a young man, I went to University of Lagos. And I can tell you why. University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, Ife, in Sokande, so those 5 top Nigerian federal universities had standards that are comparable to anywhere in the world. In my school, we had from Cameroon, we have South Africans, we have people from all over the world. We have Indonesians that we are fellow students, my classmates. Because the quality of education in Nigeria was comparable to what obtained elsewhere. As policies, we have allowed that to deteriorate. And then we're now compelled to seek for education, to now import education by sending our children outside. And now I'm paying for it. So what am I driving at? The reality is that our economy has remained stagnant in terms of structure. Our population has increased, which made it impossible for us to live on what we used to live. This world has further become sophisticated. The pattern of consumption have changed, but we have not improved our value addition. We are focused, and when I talk of heavy lifting, let's talk of what we need to do as a people. The first thing is that we need to look at the quality of labor we produce. And to look at the quality of labor, because if you are talking of an industrialized country, your quality of labor must be at the same level of standard as what obtains elsewhere. So we need to go back to the curriculum. The world is talking of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. What is the quality of education being given out in our public schools, where the majority of Nigerian population are going to? If you don't have that quality of education, you are not going to have an economy that becomes sophisticated to produce goods and services. If you can't produce goods and services, our economy will continue to deteriorate. Our HND will continue to deteriorate because we must consume, and we're not improving what we're exporting. We are not even able to export.
Now we've had the current central bank focusing a whole lot more on some of the things we're talking about. And everybody says, why is he interested in export? Why is the central bank interested in building export-based facilities across the country? Why is he supporting infrastructure? What is his business with that?
It has been noticed and written by people like Paul Kruger, Thomas Friedman and co, that every time an economy is in trouble, no problem, okay. Except you need a pen. Anyway, that the central banks initially delve into fiscal policy. Okay? So people say, oh, the central bank should just focus on inflation targeting. What's there to target in an inflation? In an economy that's in perpetual depression. This is an economy, our economy has been depressed for as long as I can remember. Look at the United States between 1930 and 1930, 1929 and 1939. The Great Depression, and everything is here. They even have some things that we don't have. They had productive capabilities then. I've studied the building of skyscrapers, how it started in Chicago, the role of people like Carnegie, Andrew Carnegie, in the steel sector, and how what the revolution that happened there. You know what I'm saying? So our economy is in depression. If the central bank comes and says, like when Mr. Emefiele came, he said, look, I want to do something different. I will also put unemployment as one of our goals. People say, listen, you have to target employment. It is a valid strategy for any government to target full employment, meaning that a government must always think about, are my people working? Sometimes it's not about the kind of work that, are they working? If you have 33% of your people roaming the street, you are in trouble. 33% of your working population. So I give it to Central Bank. Of course, there's going to be waste. There's going to be miscues and all of that. But by every means, some of the fiscal things they're doing, some of the intervention, they have no choice. Okay? If you sit and you're targeting inflation, you're wasting your time.
That's the package from the CBN this week. Report unresolved banking issues to the CBN Consumer Protection Department using the email address cpd@cbn.gov.ng. Attach relevant documents. Call the CBN Contact Center on the phone line +234 700 2255 226. Local coverage may apply. Send your inquiries and comments to the dedicated email address from the cbn@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter for updates and uploaded episodes of the program. We invite you to join us again next time. I am Oluyemi Sidada. Stay safe and bye for now.